This is a terrible job by me.
Unexpectedly, your blood, man.
Then we're back.
Tito Puente's rolling in his grave right now.
That was a false start because David got out last time.
Good job.
Two dudes in Mexican. We're back. It's been a 10-day hiatus, partly because of Pete.
My fault.
Good job, Pete.
All Pete fault. But anyways, welcome back.
Yeah.
I'm your host, some dude named Victor. To the left of me, some dude named Peter Soprano.
What's up?
To the right of me, resident Mexican David Quinones.
Órale, mi gente.
He's actually on a 13-day hiatus.
He's Mexican wearing a Paris France shirt.
Yes, my mom got me this shirt, so sorry for wearing it.
And as soon as you come back on the show, the Mets lost, so
I know.
Yeah, keep coming back, so the Mets keep losing.
They lost yesterday, not today. So.
What are you talking about?
They're going to win today.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, fuck out of here.
Anyways.
Bunch of haters out there.
We have a pretty good show, but before we give you a rundown of the show, like I said, subscribe to the YouTube, youtube.com/2dudesandAMexican. I'm actually considering just not going live anymore and just doing the YouTube until we get YouTube back to go live. I love Periscope, but I'm a YouTube guy.
Yeah, trying to be bigger for you guys.
YouTube.
I'm not really trying to be bigger for them. I just want to be bigger for myself. Right?
That's true too.
I'm just kidding. So 10-day hiatus. Rundown of the show. We're going to talk a little baseball. Talk about the Mets. A couple other things.
LGM, baby. LGM, babe. LGM.
Oh.
Let's do it, baby.
Can you give me a Mexican flag so I can put here so we can get rid of David already?
We like that on the show.
No. No. So yeah, we'll talk about baseball. Then we'll talk a little bit about football, and then talk to Browns Insider Jeff Lloyd of Lockdown Browns podcast. The Browns seem to be a sexy pick to do a lot of good things today and this year. And then we'll get into a little boxing because there's always some bullshit going around in that sport.
Usual.
So we like to talk about bullshit here. But start it off. Dave, you've been gone for 2 weeks. The Mets have done some things in 2 weeks. And what are they? 2 back in the wild card, or 1.5?
2 back.
So before you were on here, what they were 6 back, 7 back maybe.
I don't know what.
So maybe they made up 5 games. They look like the hottest team in the NL, playing subpar competition until they played the Nationals. Took 2 out of 3. Mm-hmm. Respected. Faced the Braves yesterday. Looked like you had a chance to come back in the 8th inning. Braves bullpen is always a little shaky.
Bad bullpen.
Touch your thoughts on your team. You know, do you have a nickname for your team?
Well, listen, first off, to all the haters, please relax, all right? Take it easy, man. Like, stop hating on us. I'm not saying that the Mets are going to even make the playoffs or even, win the World Series. Listen, guys, numbers don't lie. Mets they had the second worst NL record a month ago, and now they're 2 games back. All right, from making that second wild card. That's pretty damn good. I don't care, where you're coming from. Yes, they had easier competition to get there. Now they're facing the true test with the Braves. They get a little break with the Royals after the Braves, and then they go on I don't know what game stretch against really good competition. You got the Cleveland Indians. You got the Cubs, you got the Nats, and then you got the Braves. I mean, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. I think in the NL, the Mets have the toughest record from here on out, so it's definitely going to be a tough task. But listen, for Met fans, this is great. Usually, we're not even thinking about baseball right now. We're thinking about football at this time of year. So it's great to actually enjoy baseball in August. Listen, the Mets have one of the best starting pitching staffs in the league. So that gives them an opportunity and a shot every game. Obviously, their Achilles heel is their bullpen. Their bullpen is not as good as other teams and has let them down this year, especially their closer.
Lost
Diaz
the All-Star yesterday.
So and we lost McNeil. Well, I haven't seen the reports yet on his MRI. So, but obviously it's going to be hard without McNeil. Who's in contention of
I said like 350.
Come on, Jeff McNeil.
Who's that? Who's Jeff McNeil?
You know who that is.
Paul O'Neill?
How do you happen?
Paul O'Neill?
Hamstring.
Paul O'Neill still
and he was
playing?
still out.
Paul O'Neill still playing?
Corny loser, corny.
Oh my god.
Corny Goody.
What the hell,
That
yo?
big fat L on you.
L right there, bro. Right there.
So,
But,
Pete,
but you gotta make the playoffs, though?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you right now. If you have to give the Mets a certain percentage of a chance to make the playoffs, what would it be?
Without McNeil, I don't think we make the playoffs.
Like,
Then there's a
Put a
waste
percentage
then.
in.
That's all a waste then.
So
Put a percentage
I'll
on
definitely
it.
say
It's a waste.
I'll say 50-50.
This is-
50%
Put a
we
percentage
make it
on
for-
it.
This is wasting Mets
So-
times.
Put a percentage on
It
it.
sucks. It sucks. It's
You said 50, you said?
I said 50% that we make the playoffs, 50% we don't. It's tough without an all-star like that. I mean, he's obviously one of our offensive weapons that we
what?
need. So
what?
it's gonna be hard.
10 days.
Put it at 20.
All right, so let's
gonna be tough.
go.
It's gonna be
All right,
tough.
so let's go right
It's
now.
gonna be
Let's
tough.
go right
It's gonna be
now.
tough.
How much you say? How much?
You said 50.
50-50.
How about come September? What do you think it'll be?
Come September,
Yeah.
what our chances will be?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You think you're gonna drop out, or you think you're gonna stand there?
I think we'll still stay in. I think we'll still be in it because of our pitching. Obviously, our bullpen needs to improve. We're gonna live and die with our bullpen. Lugo's been pretty good lately. We had a new acquisition,
Lugo.
so it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. We're gonna stay in games because of our starting pitching. So, but our bullpen and our defense obviously is gonna dictate whether we win or lose.
So right now you're happy with trading for Stroman and
Definitely, man. Yeah, with the moves that we made. I mean, come on, dude. We're 2 games out of the wild card. None of you guys would have
He's
said
not-
we'd be 2 games out of the wild card. At
He
this
hasn't
point.
done
So-
much, though, Strowman.
He's been tough. So, but listen, guys, he's coming to New York. It's not easy to play in New York.
From New York.
Look at. It doesn't matter who you're from. You're Newark.
from New
It
York. It's
doesn't
not like-
matter. You can have a great guy who comes and does shit like Sonny Gray. Comes to New York and look, he goes back to where?
Why do you keep pointing at
He
me?
comes back and then all of a sudden he's
Yeah, but
pitching pretty good.
Sonny
So-
Gray
He's
is
leaving
a,
alone. He's
He's a hater.
He's
He's a hater like you.
He's
He's a fucking hater like you, dude. He's a hater like
This
you.
guy was what percentage?
Dude, I was talking and
Yeah,
he's playing the
that's what I'm
combos.
saying.
That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
I'm trying to have
That's
music.
disrespectful.
I'm trying to have
dude.
music.
Bullshit, man.
Damn.
I'm trying to have music, man. I mean, all right.
We're
So,
the Yankees. We're gonna win it all.
whoever said
Whoever
that?
said that?
You motherfucker, you.
No, I never
You
did.
calm as a bitch. God damn it.
What the fuck
it's
you
a
talking
family show.
Fuck
It's a family show.
about? Man, fuck this dude, man.
the Yankees. How
He's
about
not,
that?
he's not a dude, technically. He's
Yeah, he's a Mexican.
That's
Fuck
right,
this
baby.
man.
I do whatever the fuck I want. How about that?
All right, me too. I'll call Trump. I got this motherfucker on.
Call right now.
Let's get back on
All right,
track.
get back on track here, guys. We love all races and creeds.
Yeah.
I don't care what House says or
Until
what Dave
ISIS
says.
shows up.
I'm not. Nope.
Oh my
nope,
God, no.
Nope.
Where did we talk about races and creeds?
Because he's about to call Trump.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he said that, not me.
I'm just saying. This is
what
a
does that
family
mean about
show.
Get him on the show.
It's a
Trump is the president.
Family show. All right, back on track. Pete,
Get back on track,
Yeah.
please.
you're a Braves fan, so you're
Yeah.
in first place. You played the Mets.
Yeah,
5-3 win for you guys yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of a chance do you give them to make the playoffs?
20%.
Oh wow!
Because they don't have their all-star. They have.
But what if,
gonna be tough.
what if he's not hurt? What if he's just out for 10 games?
25. I just don't think that they have.
They can't just shoot him up.
No, even if he comes back after 10 days, I don't think they have enough to get the playoff spot because you got the Nats who have pretty much as good a pitching as them, and they're a better hitting team. And then you have the Cubs.
But how'd they beat the Nats 2 out of 3 though?
One series. It was one series.
One
They beat us-
series doesn't matter.
We've actually beaten them. We're winning the series, the season series.
Yes, but that's fine. But we've
Well,
beaten you in the season series, and you finished with a higher record than us, so that really doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so
That you still have to play 162 games.
Definitely.
That 19 games, yes, it'll help you catch up, but that's not going to mean that you're still going to be a better team.
I think you guys should just fight.
so can you be a better team on paper, but not in real
You
life?
could be a better team on paper, not in real life. Yeah.
I think you guys should just fight.
So we were the better team in the season.
All right, so
Yeah, in that series.
Okay.
so
Cool.
3 weeks from
That's
now,
for the season so far.
3 weeks from now, the Mets.
Season not over though.
I know since we've beaten so far though.
Season not
So
over.
far,
though.
we're better.
We're talking about the rest of the season, not the past.
Well, no, we were talking about Washington Nationals. He's one.
Yeah, that's what's
He's
that.
in
With the
Nationals.
Nationals and the Mets,
Fight,
we beat them
fight,
so
Just
far.
fucking go outside and fight.
Just let it just go.
The Braves are ahead of you. Fuck it.
So come
You
3
guys will
weeks
lose
from
the playoffs.
come 3 weeks from now.
You
Let's
guys
go
gotta
on
get
this.
the playoffs.
Can I ask my fucking question?
Yes, come through what?
Come 3 weeks from now, Mets go on that tough stretch.
Yeah,
How far up or how far down you think they'll be in the wild card race?
I think they'll be 5 to 6 games out.
Wow.
So it'll be definitely if that happens, we're done. Yeah.
Wow. So
It's a tough stretch. I went over the record. It's a tough
Pete's
stretch.
not saying you're choking, but
Well, not choking.
there's a team that is actually choking in the American League Central.
Yeah.
Minnesota Twins were once thought to be a formality of winning the Central, And that's not how it is now.
Game
Pete, told us that they hit home runs, but apparently that's not good enough.
It's not.
Because here come the Indians. I'm actually going to the game Thursday. The Indians-Yankees.
Oh.
Indians are what? That's tomorrow. Shit. Indians are coming into town.
Yeah.
What do you think happens in the Central Division? Twins choke. With the way the Indians are playing, they traded Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but it didn't matter apparently because here they are, right there in first place.
Yeah, they're only half a game out with Twins, and the Twins are, like you said, are going against and you got the Cleveland going against the Yankees. They're going to have to win. They can't get blown out. They can't get swept this series, or it's going to kill their whole momentum. Right now, the Twins, even though they've been still playing above average, the Indians have just been hot lately, and they've tracked them down to where it's a half a game. And like you said, a couple weeks ago, or actually about a month ago, you would have thought there was no chance they were catching the Twins. The Twins had one of the best records in baseball, and they were hitting the ball at the ballpark every game. But now it looks like it died off, and it looks like either the young players are starting to get a little tired at the end of the season.
Question for you: did you put your phone on Do Not Disturb?
No.
I heard somebody texting you. You're fired. I'm just kidding. Dave.
I'm gone.
We hurt your feelings?
We're a little rusty, apparently.
Feelings are hurt.
Here. We're a little rusty. You took a week off, not by choice. Shout out to Greg for not having the bar open for us.
Yeah, Curly.
The sound was good on Sunday,
job.
right, huh?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it? Go fuck yourself.
All right, yeah.
It's a fucking family show, bro.
Oh my God.
Let's get back on track.
We're back on track again.
Let's get back on track.
Thoughts on the Indians?
Yeah, listen, I'm surprised. I really had the Twins, probably making the playoffs. Right now, Cleveland is, you would have thought they're probably not going to be as good. You're trading away a guy like Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
You're pitching. That's what gets you to playoffs, and that's what keeps you in playoff games.
Yeah.
Playoff series. And they add Puig, crazy head case Puig. And now all of a sudden...
He's got nice muscles, though, Puig.
And all of a sudden, this team is just off and running. I mean, they're catching fire at the right time. They have a load of confidence. Everything is just working with the Indians. The Indians have pretty much caught up. And I don't know if Minnesota can, weather the storm, so to speak, right now.
You got to pick a team right now. Twins or Indians? Who's won the Central?
Oh, Indians, yeah. They're hot right now.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the Indians right now.
I'm going to go Indians, too. And I say the Mets missed the playoffs by 2 games.
Cool. All right.
I think they're going to be into it.
I'll take it.
Don't take it. You want to make the playoffs, baby.
Well, it's a prediction.
Hey, it's a prediction.
Right. I think. Listen, I'm being a realist. Without McNeil, we're not going to be able to make a run unless we can, weather the storm while he's out. But we're gonna need him to make a playoff, a run at the playoffs.
I think what is it, the Nationals and Brewers.
It's gonna be tough.
That's tough. I think 2 of the 3 make it. 2 of the 3 National Brewers, Mets. That's who I think make it in. Moving on to football, a lot of things happening. We are in week 2 of preseason, so that means we're about 3 weeks away from actual real NFL football. Before we get into the wide receivers, any of you guys watch Hard Knocks?
No.
But have you seen Antonio Brown?
Some clips,
I've
some
seen
clips.
clips.
You seen Antonio
And the
Brown's
radio,
feet?
yeah.
God.
I didn't see it, I heard it.
It's disgusting.
I saw it yesterday.
What did
and
it look like?
It looks like green shit coming off his feet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's disgusting.
He went into a crowd chamber for like more than 15 minutes, and apparently you're not supposed to do that.
Frostbite.
Well, you should have worn wrong footwear.
You wore the wrong footwear.
Yeah.
That
Like,
fucking
you're stupid.
Aside from
Hey, I
that,
thought this was a kid's show.
aside from that, I
It's not a
mean,
kid show.
That's what he said.
aside from that, why would Hard Knocks just continually show his feet?
Because they know people are talking about
It's
it. That's
Antonio
why.
Brown. You don't want to watch. You don't want to tune in next
They got a
week.
segment on our show for 2 minutes.
Fucking disgusting. It was disgusting.
It is.
Green. It was colored green.
It was like
It was- yeah,
it was just
green,
like
brown,
green,
yeah.
brown. It was disgusting.
And it's the frostbite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he wanted his old helmet.
Yeah.
He's did he win or he lost?
No, he lost.
No, they
He
always
lost
lose
it, yeah.
that. They always lose
It was
that.
stupid. They lost that.
And he was mad that he
You think he was doing that
cut
for the
the
show?
sandwich.
He was doing that for the show?
It could have been, yeah.
You
Because
think HBO was like, do something stupid?
yeah, and he
I'll
obliged.
definitely do something stupid. Anyway.
That's the same guy that flew into training camp in a helicopter last year, so he always does something out of
Didn't
ordinary.
he fly him in an air balloon this time?
I think it was. Everybody's started trying to top each other with that now. Jalen Ramsey came in a
Oh yeah.
he came with a fucking cash truck.
What does that even mean?
He came with the truck that delivers the money to banks.
Armored
No, he
car.
said he wanted to get paid.
He wanted to get paid?
Yeah, because his contract's coming up in a year, and he said he wants to get paid.
Okay, that's why I thought you have agents.
Divas, baby, divas.
So I thought you have agents. Before we jump into Jeff Lloyd, I wanted to jump into, I guess, a little pop-up NFL question. We should probably put this on a poll, but me and Pete were in Philly, hanging out with the Irish folk and the Philly boys.
Yeah.
So my fault for not putting this on there with Pete. But I'm just going to blame Pete.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Fine.
He's going to take all the blame for this
Scapegoat
weekend.
today, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. He doesn't have his phone. Doesn't have his phone on Do Not Disturb.
It has stopped the broadcast.
I don't know. I haven't checked. So we're gonna put this out there anyways. Best wide receiving tandem in the NFL. If you had to choose between these four, or if not, add your own. Diggs and Thielen, Minnesota. OBJ, Landry, Cleveland. Julio Jones and Calvin, Atlanta. And Brandon Cooks and Woods from the LA Rams. You go first, Dave.
Yeah, I gotta go with OBJ and Landry, man.
Oh, get out of here!
I think they're gonna do big. They're gonna put up big numbers.
What have they done separately?
Listen, OBJ's OBJ.
He makes nice catches, drops the easy ones, goes on boats.
I just think that
doesn't win playoff games.
I just think that. Listen, remember they have a history. Both of them. Mm. They have a past. They're like brothers, man.
Yeah.
So I just think that they are just going to be selfless when it comes to each other. I think they're just going to know how to play. And listen, guys, remember, what's one of the most important things for a team? Chemistry, right? You don't have to worry about that in him and Landry. With chemistry, they're going to have all the fucking chemistry in the world and all the talent. I mean, they're both very talented.
I think they're going to need more chemistry with their quarterback than with each other.
Possibly, but listen, he's a gunslinger, too. You see what Baker Mayfield can do. He showed it last year. I just think that offense is going to put big numbers up this year. So I'm going with OBJ and Landry. So
I agree with Dave that they're very talented and that they won't have a problem with chemistry. But this will be their first year together since they've been in college, and they've both been in the league for a while. So, and they both are different players than they were when they were in college. So I'm going to go with the established two and go with Thielen and Diggs. I think that those two proved already for the past couple of years that they both can be number one type targets. And even without a third real big wide receiver on that team to take some of the pressure away from them, they've still produced big numbers. They both still gotten 1,000 yards. They both have over 100 catches. So they've proven already what they can do as a tandem. And OBJ and Landry have not done that since college. So I want to see them do it on this level first before I can anoint them number one.
In terms of establishment, I'll go Diggs and Thielen as well because of that, because they have proven it. In terms of who I think will end up being the best tandem at the end of the season, I think it's going to be Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. Mm-hmm. Julio Jones by himself is already a top 3, probably top 2 wide receiver in this league. I don't know why Matt Ryan doesn't look for him in the end zone. But aside from that, this guy's always grabbing balls. He's always making plays. He's definitely top 2, top 3 in the league. I think Calvin Ridley has that talent. I remember when they drafted him, I was like, damn, they got Julio and his cousin from Alabama, Calvin Ridley. I'm like, they're just going to Alabama to get their wide receivers.
Yeah.
I think this year,
don't let them get Judy.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I think don't let them get. I think this year will be Calvin Ridley's breakout year. So I'm not sure how high Pete will have him in his fantasy draft class, but I'm sure he's going to be available mid-rounds, and I'm going to pick him up. I think he's going to break out. Yeah.
I'm going to pick him up.
And Julio's going to be Julio.
Just to get him.
But aside from that, I'm going to get Jeff Lloyd on the phone. But before we get Jeff Lloyd on the phone, predictions, early predictions. How do you see the Browns' first 4 games going? Because I think that's what I'm asking.
I'm going to have them going.
Who are they playing?
Well, they play the Titans week 1.
Ooh, they're winning.
Wow.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Just go outside and fight.
Yeah, what the hell, dude?
It's about time.
So I'm going to say they go 2-2 the first 4 games.
So you're saying they beat the Titans?
No, they're losing.
Wait, who are they playing? Who are they playing? Titans?
Titans, then Jets, then I forgot what the other 2 are.
Hello?
How are you?
Hey, Jeff, how you doing? It's 2 dudes and a Mexican. How's everything going today?
Very good.
What are they, Jeff?
What's up, Jeff?
Welcome on the show. I'm one dude named Victor.
Every show I left.
Yeah. It's all Dave's fault.
It's Pete's fault today.
It is Pete's fault.
Everything's
Pete's the scapegoat today.
Everything's my fault.
We're blaming Pete for everything today.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show. Pete, you want to give him an introduction and then jump right in?
Well, first, thanks for coming on. This is Jeff Lloyd from Locked On Browns. He co-hosts the show with Pete Smith. Just go on there. You got to listen to that podcast on iTunes. It's a great show. Jeff, thanks for coming on with us.
No problem at all, fellas. You know that.
So Jeff, we're talking about the Browns. Like, first of all, you got to think about that. We're talking about a team that's been considered the laughingstock of the league for years. And now they have all these expectations, and people like me are picking them to win the AFC North. And how do you think that now they're going to handle these new expectations that they've never had in the past?
Well, first things first, I have no idea. Obviously, it's uncharted territory for this franchise. But you look at the confidence of the main players, whether it's Baker Mayfield, who's just cool, calm, in the moment, and he's been here. Obviously, Oklahoma, he went to the playoffs, won a Heisman Trophy. Odell Beckham, this is what he apparently wants. This is what he's been saying. This is what he complained about that got him out of New York. Myles Garrett, I don't think he's wired that way. Myles Garrett, it's week in, week out. I think he'd be one of those guys that showed up for a playoff game and be like, wow, it's a little louder today. Like Myles is just so wired different like that. But look, John Dorsey, obviously Kansas City was a perennial, playoff team. The rest of the front office, they came over from Green Bay where the expectation was playoffs year in, year out. Freddie, this is, everything for Freddie is uncharted territory because he's a, first-time head coach. Yeah. But the guy exudes confidence. Him and Baker Mayfield have a ridiculously good relationship. They know how to put up yards. They know how to put up points. It's, obviously there's a lot here. And, for everybody, like the Browns fans that say Super Bowl, I'm like, oof, let's just get to January. Let's at least play one game in January, see how it goes from there. But the recipe and, all the actors, so to speak, if you're trying to put on a show here, you've got the cast, you've got the plan. I don't see how it doesn't at least get to January football.
You mentioned Freddie Kitchens. This is going to be his first year as a head coach, and he's never been a head coach on the college or pro level before, and he's even only was the offensive coordinator from last year. How far is he handling the top job? Like, how is he conducting his first ever training camp as head coach?
I think he's done a pretty good job with it. He's kept it physical, and I think the thing is they're going to go kind of light as far as preseason games. Look, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry didn't play week 1. It's not looking like they're going to play week 2. Even today they have the joint practices with the Colts. Odell's not doing much. Jarvis isn't doing much. I think he's smart as far as, sitting his stars. Baker, look, he's only a second-year guy. He's got to get these reps. These reps mean something. So he's getting him in there. I'm sure he'll get a little time on Saturday as well. But I think he's done a good job. I think the problem he's got is just adjusting to day in, day out media. And, and you see this so many times with head coaches is, one media member asks a question that the head coach is never going to answer. And so he kind of gives a vanilla fluff answer. The next media member tries to rephrase the question. And you see him getting a little frustrated with that. And that's just things that, number one, he can't aggravate these people because, they do cover him and media will turn quickly. Yes. But you see him getting a little frustrated with guys, you can ask this 6 or 7 times. It's like your children. I've said no. Yeah. You're not getting the answer here at this point. So other than that, though, but I think he's done a really good job. I mean, coming out, the first preseason game, saying, Baker, you're going to get 1 drive. We're going to go 2-minute. And because, that's the thing you want to work against new competition, live competition. I think he's done a fantastic job to this point. And I think he's really done a really good job, managing the fact that, a lot of head coaches don't get a first-time gig with a roster as deep as this Browns roster is right now. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like that almost made it easier because he doesn't really have a lot of headaches about the roster. I mean, he's worried about right guard. You're worried about depth, maybe at the defensive tackle position. But the roster groups are pretty strong.
Well, that leads me to my next question, where when you have these high expectations, people are going to zoom in on what they think their weakness is. And you mentioned some of the places where you may be not as deep at. One of the positions that I thought about is one of your tackle positions. You don't have that stud tackle anymore. You don't have Joe Thomas there anymore. Who do you see standing out to take that position? Or do you see them maybe trying to trade for a Trent Williams or picking up somebody?
I think right guard is a bigger issue for them than the tackle positions are. If I had to choose one of the tackles, I'd probably choose Chris Hubbard. And it's weird to say, I think I'm okay with Greg Robinson. But normally when you get guys who, and Greg Robinson, you can't, spade's a spade. The guy was a bust. But you never usually have busts who work their tails off to improve their craft. And Greg Robinson, every year he goes to the Charles Bentley Academy, continues to put in the work. A guy like him who was number 2 overall, could have taken his big old pile of money and said, whatever, I don't have to do this anymore. I've already made $35 million guaranteed. But he continues to work day in, day out. He spoke at length about how getting to go against Myles Garrett every day improves him as a player. I think Chris Hubbard is the bigger of an issue. And Chris Hubbard's only like a 295-pound right tackle. He played better in the second half last year. They did hire James Campman to come coach the offensive line, which his job is supposed to improve offensive line players. I mean, the guys in Green Bay speak the absolute world of them. So I think the group's going to be okay. And the thing with Baker Mayfield is the inner part, left guard, center, right guard, is more important to Baker Mayfield than essentially the tackles are. One, because Baker's a little bit shorter, and two is because Baker likes to get that ball and get it out as quick as possible. So you cannot have the rush directly up the middle. That's what slows down Baker more. If it's coming from the outside, Baker will step up, will beat it. The throw everybody loved last year from the Carolina game, he avoided, a pressure that Greg Robinson gave up. Stepped out and dropped a 55-yard bomb to Jarvis Landry. It's more the interior, and they got to figure out what that right guard spot is. If there was a right guard available, I think they would jump for that before they would jump for a tackle.
Gotcha. Now, everybody doesn't know the Browns roster except for the big stars right now. They know the Odell Beckhams, they know Landry's, they know Simon, they know Baker. Give me somebody on the offensive side and somebody on the defensive side that maybe isn't well known, but you think they're going to stand out and really show themselves this year.
One of the stances we've taken with the show is, and it's on Rashard Higgins. Rashard Higgins, now in 2017, they got to the end of the summer, they cut him, nobody picked him up. They snuck him back onto the practice squad. Eventually, as the year went on, he got some playing time, did some things. Last summer, him and Baker Mayfield both started as, on the depth chart as number twos. They developed a ridiculously good relationship. They read each other well. Baker knows where he is. Rashard Higgins has this innate ability to always realize when Baker's in trouble. The rapport is fantastic, and it really started to show dividends last year. And we were to the point even on the show where we were saying that Rashard Higgins may be more valuable to Baker Mayfield than Jarvis Landry. Naturally, we took some heat. But Rashard Higgins is a special, special talent. And if you look at the amount of targets he gets, and you look at the amount of salary and the targets that Jarvis Landry gets, Jarvis at $15 million, Rashard Higgins this year is going to make $1.7. You're looking, it's not much of a difference. Rashard Higgins is one of their better players on this offensive unit. Joe Schobert is a guy I'll always mention. I don't understand, and it's even the Browns fans themselves on the defensive side of the ball. 2 years in a row, over 100 tackles. Last year, he missed 3 games with a hamstring injury. He's one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL, as far as PFF is concerned. And this is 2019. A lot of people, he'll miss some tackles. He's not stout in the run. This is in the 1980s. I mean, you're seeing 40 to 45 pass attempts a game. You want your linebackers to be able to cover. And that's something that Joe Schobert's been able to do. And it's really weird because Joe Schobert and linebackers got paid a ton last offseason. Joe Schobert's on the last year of his deal. The Browns have never really paid him any much money as a former 4th-round pick. He's a guy that maybe gets outpriced from what the Browns are willing to give him as far as what the open mark is. And it'd be a shame because, Joe Schobert has done nothing but flourish in the last 2 seasons as the starting middle linebacker for this team.
Yeah.
And again, guys, we're live with Jeff Lloyd from Lockdown Browns. Jeff, just wanted a quick question. I know the Browns have the sexy names and the Jarvis Landrys, the Odell Beckham Jr.'s, the Nick Chubbs, the Kareem Hunt when he comes back, in 8 games. Why aren't we talking about David Njoku as much? And how integral do you think he'll be in this offense?
It's just funny to say this is here to the point now where, how can you talk about everybody? David Njoku, you're totally right. 23, he just turned 23. He's younger than guys that just got drafted in the 2019 NFL drafts. So that means he's got 32 games of NFL experience already. He is one of the fastest tight ends in the league. He's one of the most athletic tight ends in the league. Does have some issues from time to time with drops. But David Njoku is a fantastic weapon, and I think he's part of why he's being slept on is because you talk about Baker, you talk about Odell, you talk about Nick Chubb, you talk about Kareem Hunt. I have no idea how you're really going to defend David Njoku this year because you're going to have to focus on Odell outside. You're going to have to focus on Jarvis Landry in the slot. How many guys can you keep in the box? Because if you're only going 6 in the box and Nick Chubb is back there, he's going to tear you apart. David Njoku could easily quietly put up a 60-reception, 800-yard season with, I'd say 7 to 10 touchdowns. And most of it's good. You can't cover David Njoku with one guy because he's as athletic as any defensive back, and he's 10 times more athletic than any linebacker, and his size is a mismatch for almost everybody. I think he's just, this is just what happens when you have 2 straight number 1 overall picks on your team. You bring in an Odell Beckham. You bring in a Kareem Hunt. You already have a Nick Chubb. It's, you'd almost have to say, all right, we're going to sit down and take it player by player on the Browns roster for maybe David Njoku to actually get the respect he deserves.
Now, in terms of what this team can be, I've been listening to a lot of radio, a lot of sports talk shows. This team is either they're going to be 12-4, or some teams are saying it's going to explode. I mean, I don't see it as that, but you covering this team, I mean, if they go 9-7, 10-6, do you think that would be a disappointment per se?
I'd say maybe 9-7. The issue for them is going to be, it's this first slate of games. Tennessee week 1, the Jets week 2. They really kind of need both those games, because now you're going to get into a little bit of uncharted territory, but you're going to start to play some experienced teams. The LA Rams, they know what they're doing. The Seattle Seahawks, they know what they're doing. The San Francisco 49ers, look, nobody really knows what they are yet offensively, but they got a really good defensive line. The New England Patriots. The tough part for the Browns is the early schedule, the first 6 games. There's some really good teams within those games. The second half, the last 8 games, is literally, it's cream puff city. It's going to be how they manipulate the first 6 games, and do they get better? Do they learn from some things? There'll be a hiccup or two. There'll be some things that they're not ready for, but they basically pick up that same second half flow that they did last year, which I think they can. Double digits for me seems to be the way to go. Winning the AFC North, I don't see a reason why they shouldn't right now. Obviously, injuries, whatever, a lot of stuff play factors and change the course of things. But they are the AFC North favorites for a reason on a lot of people's boards, and I have to agree with that.
Now, in terms of the economical impact they can have towards the city of Cleveland, we remember LeBron going to Cleveland and it becoming a boom, and then when LeBron left, downtown Cleveland kind of shut down. I was reading an article on Sports Business Daily how it could bring influx back into the city, and I recall last year that Bud Light was giving out free beer or something like that if they got the first win. And now the Cleveland Browns are the focus of Anheuser-Busch in the NFL. Can you talk about what this could mean to the city of Cleveland, bringing back, the fans, packing up the bars like LeBron used to do? Could it be that level that LeBron was on?
I think it would be more, because the Browns are Cleveland's team. It's always been a football town. It's not that they don't appreciate the Indians. It's not that they don't appreciate the Cavaliers. It's a football town. Ohio is a football state. Now you look at it after what they did last year, 7-8-1. Who did they award the 2021 NFL draft to? The city of Cleveland. Everybody sees this. And the other thing is, everybody wants to see the lovable loser get their day in the sun. And sadly, Cleveland, with the franchise being ripped away from them, and then getting it back and never be able, to sustain any growth, any traction as far as being an even average, middling, run-of-the-mill franchise. And now where it looks like everything could finally be in place since 1999, for God's sakes, everybody wants to see it. And, I've talked with national guys. I've had Daniel Jeremiah. Daniel Jeremiah was on the show one day, and even he said, he's like, there isn't anybody. And he said, even if you hate the Cleveland Browns, you want to see it happen for this city. Everybody deserves their day in the sun. And, obviously the opportunity's here, and, they're certainly going to have to capitalize on it. Otherwise, because, there was so much, even national media, that was, wow, and about last year, about October, November, wow, everybody's sleeping on the Browns. This isn't a bad team. And then all of a sudden, somewhere in the middle of this offseason, where the Browns' momentum continued to grow, all of a sudden it became the popular thing to reverse trends. Oh, well, they're cocky. They're not going to be that good. And it was just, but everybody will run to whatever is going to get you reads, get you clicks. But nothing's changed. The talent is still all there. So it's going to be huge for the city. And, to be able to, with the Cavaliers, with a whole bunch of young talent now, the Indians are able to play, right around till October, stick around to the playoffs. All eyes are on September 8th for this franchise. Look, the city is rocking. The city is excited. And it's the economic impact tenfold, no doubt about it.
And if I, as a non-Cleveland Brown fan or a Cleveland Brown fan, if you could circle one date on the calendar, what date and what game would you pick for me to go to?
Are you going to Cleveland, or are you just going to see him play anybody?
See him play anybody.
After the bye, they're going to go play the New England Patriots. Look, this is your litmus test. That's everybody in the AFC's litmus test right now. Look, the Chiefs were fantastic last year. Guess what happened? You couldn't get past New England. Your benchmark as an AFC franchise right now is the New England Patriots. It's going to be a 4-15 game. Obviously, Nance and Romo in the house. You're going on the road to New England. Let's see. How legit are you? I mean, are you good? Are you good enough to play with the Patriots good? Or do you go in there and you walk out with your tail between your legs and you lose 31-10? That is the standard for an AFC franchise right now, is where are you based against the New England Patriots? That would be the one.
This is Two Dudes in the Mexican. We're here with Jeff Lloyd of Locked On Browns. Jeff, really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us. What has been the impact of the culture for this team, for these players, for the city of Cleveland? Because obviously, like we've talked about before, Cleveland has just been it's been rough seasons, right? Last who knows when till now. Everybody's excited. What's the culture been? What's the change in culture been at Cleveland?
I think the biggest thing, it's been Baker Mayfield. I mean, a lot was made of Hard Knocks last year, but Baker Mayfield, and look, and even a lot of the press, they just got lazy. And you want to know what it was? You know what's best? Oh, it's great that they suck because I don't have to put in much work. I can fire off I can fire off my hot takes, and that's what they did. And the people who were guilty of it tried talking with Baker Mayfield and bringing up how crappy the past was, and Baker Mayfield essentially said, "I don't know, wasn't here. That's not the vision. That's not the vision I have for where we're going." And what happened? First time Baker Mayfield got on the field, week 3 against the New York Jets, they were losing. Baker started hitting lasers all over the field. Browns walked off 20-14 winners, and they essentially never looked back from that day. Like, look, winning is something we expect to do here week in, week out. And it starts there. It's got to be your quarterback. And we talked about it with Joe Batonio was on the show one day. And we were like, well, when did you know? When did you know Baker was the dude? And he said by halftime of the Jet game, he says, everything changed. The building changed. Everybody on the roster had confidence that they could go out and win week in, week out. That's that long list of the jersey with all the quarterback names on it. Take it and throw it out the window. But that's what led to where they are now. Baker Mayfield is leading them past that stupid meme. They're going to be a good franchise for a good long time.
How has that impacted Baker? Because obviously, when the draft happened, everybody was talking about Darnold, right? Everybody was talking about Rosen. I mean, Baker, they were talking about, he was kind of like a wild card. And then all of a sudden, Cleveland takes Baker Mayfield number 1. And I was actually at MetLife when that pick happened, and a lot of people were laughing. How has that impacted Baker and his confidence now that he's in the big leagues in the NFL?
Well, with Baker Mayfield, he's aggravated and agitated by. And look, this goes back to everything. If you pissed him off once, you pissed him off forever. Like, he forgets nothing. I cannot wait till they go to Arizona this year and he gets to see Cliff Kingsbury and look at him and go, "Hey, you got fired from Texas Tech. Maybe you should have played me." But he doesn't forget these things. And to go number 1 overall, confirmed to him, you want to know what? I was the walk-on. I was the one that had a transfer. I was the one that busted my butt. I got a Heisman to get myself here. And then to hear the Browns, and John Dorsey especially talk about it afterwards, one of the things they liked about Baker is he seemed unflappable. They also liked the fact that, obviously Rosen, Allen, Jackson, Darnold, they were all only 21. Baker was 23. He was a little bit older. He had already been through some things. And one of the things John Dorsey said is, we had to make sure the quarterback we took was ready for this situation, was ready for Hugh Jackson, who wasn't very good, was ready for a media that had no idea how to cover a good football franchise. And Baker just was that guy. And if you're not a Browns follower, if you don't see it, I understand how everybody says, "Oh, he's a cocky SOB. He's this, he's that." No, he'll put his name on the line for the franchise. This went back to Oklahoma the week of the Rose Bowl game against Georgia. He was sick for a couple days. Didn't do any of his media availability. And all of a sudden, like I think it was the Wednesday of the week, Baker's going to speak today at noon. And he got out there and he stood up and he says, look, I'm still not feeling 100%, but I'm sick of seeing my teammates have to ask questions that should be asked of me. I'm the quarterback of this team. This is what a quarterback of a team does. This is my job. And then going back and looking at that afterwards, it was like, well, yeah, this is what made him the perfect pick, because you're not going to ask, you're not going to ask questions around people. You're going to ask them directly to the quarterback, because that is what leads your franchise. And he's just so good at that.
Well, it seems like Baker has seriously woken up the city of Cleveland, and brought them a spark. I'm going to ask you one last question for me. If you had to pick his stats, end of the year, what does he throw for? How many touchdowns? How many interceptions?
They
sounds like a fantasy question.
He's asking a fantasy question.
Yeah, I'm gauging whether to pick him or not. So, wink, wink.
Oh, we'll definitely pick him. There's no doubt. Yeah, I would say you're going to figure north of 45. You're going to figure in the 40 range touchdown pass wise. Interceptions is weird because, like last year, he had. Last year, I forget the number, but he had 2-3 interception games. But overall, he wasn't bad. He had a bad day against Houston, obviously week 17 against Baltimore. 2 of those were 3 interception games. He does get the tendency sometimes to try to make a 20-point throw, but maybe this year that won't be the case because they should be a little bit more competitive and be, on both sides of the ball. Interceptions will be north of 10, but I wouldn't be stunned, if he got closer to that 40 touchdown mark. I mean, you've got Odell. And then you take the guys that he had last year where he threw 27, and now Landry's a 2, and Higgins and Callaway, if he can come back. And, yeah, it's got to be 45, 40, and you figure, 10 to 15 interceptions.
Well, Jeff, thanks for coming on. Before I let you go, I picked the same game, New England and Cleveland. I'm most likely going to that game. Do you think it's worth $300 a ticket to watch that game before we let you go?
I would say it's worth the ticket. The issue is getting in and out of that freaking place. No, it's one road in. It's like the mall during Christmas time. It is the most impossible stadium to get into.
So Jeff, you obviously you said you think there's no reason they shouldn't win the AFC North, and you said they should win double-digit wins this year. The big question is, are they going to win a playoff game?
This is what I talked about the other night. The question is going to be, how does it work out? Mm-hmm. Because look, I think New England is your 1 or your 2 seed. I think Kansas City or the Chargers are the other. So those are the 2 getting the bye. Yeah. So now you're going to go with, so AFC South. You figure Indy's going to roll there. So, they're probably going to most likely be your 3rd seed. If the Browns are the 4 seed, who are your 2? The question is, you want to be the 3 seed. You don't want to be the 4 seed, because if you're the 4th seed, you're playing at home against either Kansas City or the Chargers. That's a really, really, really tough draw. Mm-hmm. So I think that, look, for now, I'll think they'll win. What am I supposed to do?
How crazy is that week 1 battle between you and me going to be when we're on Twitter?
Well, I mean, is Derrick Henry out of his walking boot yet? No. All I got to know is who's going to play left tackle. Yeah. Myles Garrett may break the NFL sack record.
Yeah, that's going to be bad. Without Taylor there, that's going to be bad. But, Jeff, definitely thank you for coming on the show. We will keep in touch with you. Come on during the season so we can talk about the progress of the Browns.
No, anytime, fellas. You know that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
He's coming for your neck week 1, huh?
We going at it on Twitter.
Before we get into the boxing, I thought some interesting things he said was the impact of the football team. I forget that because Cleveland is such like a team that hasn't had sports success in a while, that it is a football town. Yeah. Little Giants was in Ohio, right? The home of the O'Sheas, wherever the heck it was called. Yeah. Marshall's in Ohio. Mm-hmm. Ohio State. Urbania, with Ohio State football, and obviously it's not even close to where Cleveland is, but still, I mean the economical impact. And then the talk of Njoku, I thought everyone's forgetting about Njoku.
Yeah, he's somebody. Tight end is a tough position to adjust to the NFL. Usually, your first year or two, it takes time to adjust. They want you to block a little bit more. You get a little nervous when you get those sharp passes from the quarterback. Then, so it takes usually till year 3 to really settle into being an NFL tight end. So I think he's ready to roll this year. I think he's going to be a top 10 to 15 guy this year.
Not only that, I mean, he even mentioned, it's like who do you talk about? Because they got so many weapons, man. They got Chubb, they got Hunt when he comes back. They got OBJ, they got Landry, they got Njoku. I mean, they got a lot of weapons. Higgins, I mean,
it's going to be interesting to see how they involve Hunt when he comes back.
Yeah,
especially if Chubb is already having a good year.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the change of culture being Baker Mayfield? Your question is pretty good.
Crazy, man. I mean, listen, like I said, I really meant it. Like, he's kind of like woken up Cleveland. He's woken up, this city who, doesn't...
Is he woke, though?
Woke? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
It's like the Cleveland game. They went nuts on that.
I mean, listen, he's really brought a spark to this town. He's really, brought a presence. And now Cleveland's back on the map. They're no longer a laughing stock. I mean, they are back on the map.
Well, before we say they're no longer laughing stock, let's just see how the season rolls. Because
you're right.
7-8-1 is still losing season.
No, we bet on them. They're gonna
I don't think so. Yeah, I think they're gonna win.
Who'd you bet?
Me and him bet that they're gonna win 9 games.
You said less than 9?
No.
More.
You said more than 9?
Yeah, we both said more than 9.
Oh, so now see, look, he's cheering for Cleveland.
Who'd you bet with?
With him. We went
Jeff
Vegas
Lloyd.
and you were there.
Vegas.
Oh, you placed the bet.
Oh,
Yeah.
with him.
I thought you said
Lloyd.
Lloyd.
I thought you
No.
said Jeff
We
Lloyd.
placed the bet, no.
No, we placed the bet, man.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah.
Was I?
You were next to us when we did the bet.
Yeah.
You sure I wasn't at the bar getting another picture of margaritas?
I think it's Vegas. You don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember much. But no, good segment.
I want to know, the only question is Aaron Rodgers the only quarterback that can't chug a beer in the NFL?
I don't know.
He's the only one.
I don't know if he drinks. I've never seen him drink.
I know they asked Darnold. They asked Darnold on the radio, and he was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I probably wouldn't do that."
He's gonna chug wine like Selfie from Game of Thrones.
Listen, man. Only person that could chug a beer quicker than any quarterback in this league is Daniel Jones. All right.
Oh my God.
5 for 5, touchdown.
We'll get to that on another
Big
game.
deal.
Greatest quarterback in the world.
Woo! We'll
fails.
talk about that on Sunday.
Whatever. He's just mad because he bet against them and he lost. That's why.
We'll talk about that on
He
Sunday.
bet for him to throw an interception.
lost.
How do you cut the game short? But
lost?
you pretty much
Why
took him
would
out.
you?
You took him out because of a rainstorm.
Because the field's soggy. You don't
my
want to.
God.
Come on, man.
That's our rookie. We're not going to put the rookie
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
What's wrong with
First-
this guy?
it's a
The owner just said he's not even gonna play this year.
The owner has no decision in this, all right?
Oh my
The
God.
owner
has
is
decision,
going to try to
but-
appease the fans. That's what he's trying to do.
Exactly. All right, run down boxing real quick because
Sucks.
we have to talk about it
And
because
boxeo.
boxing fucking sucks. For like 340 days of the year, boxing fucking sucks. So run down it real quick on all the disappointing news. Disappointing news number 1. It's all disappointing news. Disappointing news number 1. Joshua Ruiz rematch.
Fuck that.
Sellouts.
Not on, maybe on, not on, maybe on. Saudi Arabia. Are we gonna pack our bags and wear our what is it called? Hijabs, burqas? I don't know.
He said it. Yeah.
Really?
Hijabs or burqas?
Burka.
I'm sorry, guys. Anyways,
Moving on.
are we gonna ride? Wheels said he's
Wheels
gonna.
going.
Wheels said he's going. He's gonna test it out. If he doesn't, if he comes back in one piece, we're going to Saudi Arabia to the next one. But disappointing.
Yeah, definitely. Very
Sellouts.
Disappointing.
Definitely. It's terrible.
Who the fuck is going to Saudi Arabia?
It's terrible. And is it even official? I mean, they put the official thing out, but now Ruiz is saying no.
Andy Ruiz is with Shays on an airplane, probably somewhere far, far
Can
away.
I ask you something?
Mexico
Because
City.
you're
He's in Mexico City.
currently you're currently still doing boxing media all the time. So
Not all the time.
Well, every time in the area. And listen, so we have negotiations that take place through the media. And as a media member, I would think you like that because you get the insights, you get to find out what's going on.
Sure.
As a fan, but
I'm not an insider anymore per se.
but is this bad for the fans because they're always involved in everything and all the bullshit?
No,
that you're not
because
supposed to be
the
seeing?
thing about boxing is a niche sport, and most of the fans are on Twitter, and that's where most of the news happens.
Yeah.
And
But should it though?
Mike Coppinger, Peg Pugmire, Steve Kim, all those guys, they're just doing their jobs. If Eddie Hearn or someone inside Eddie Hearn camp says this is what we offered Tevin Farmer, or this is what we offered Javante Davis, $5 million to fight.
No, I'm not blaming the media.
So that's gonna get hits. People are gonna be like,
I'm not blaming
and
media
because boxing Twitter is such like the greatest troll community in the world. Not even close. Everyone on boxing Twitter is gonna be like, "Oh, you're a bum, Davis. You turned that $5 million." Like that's how it is.
But I know that.
I mean, you don't see Schefter, saying, except for Dak Prescott wanted $40 million. Like, oh, you're a bum, Dak. How could you want $40 million? It's not like
and they got killed
for it. But I mean, it's just the nature of the sport, man.
But that happens in media all the time. But should the promoters be giving that information out and negotiating through the media like that? Because they're doing it on purpose.
Of course they should.
They use it as a tool.
But that slows down the negotiations.
It sucks, but
didn't I say 340 days of the year?
Money talks.
The sport fucking sucks.
Oh
money talks, guys. Money talks.
340 days of the year, the sport fucking sucks. So bad for boxing. Everyone here agrees?
Yeah, I don't think it's
bad
good
for boxing. I really don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. I don't think it's bad for boxing in general, just because
Turning people off on the fight.
It's just it's a turnoff. It's a turnoff.
come on.
Nobody wants to see that.
Kovalev's gonna fight Yard in Russia.
No. People want to
Nobody
see
care
it.
about that
It's
either.
just-
But who cares? Through to Manila, Rumble in the Jungle.
Yeah, you do.
I mean,
A lot of yourself.
I saw people getting like.
I'm gonna cancel the zone.
No, you
No,
can't
please
cancel
don't.
the fucking zone.
We need your user and password.
Goddamn
We need
zone.
your user and password.
Yeah, we need to use that damn password.
Yeah.
I saw people getting on all the high horse about the journalists killing. Obviously, we get it, but there's places boxing has gone that. I mean, we have goddamn fucking mass shootings here every day. Or we're saying, we shouldn't have a fight here. I mean, I get it. This is a blood sport. It's a criminal sport. The worst of the worst happen in the boxing, but for 15 days out of the year, it's the best sport in the world.
But can Michelle Joy Phelps cover it?
Oh my god! Someone said something. I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm not even gonna get into that. Respect to every journalist out there. Bad news number 2. Boxing. Spence Porter is set, which I like. Pay-per-view, which I don't like. Are you buying? Periscope.
I may go to it.
Wow, really?
Why?
You going
I'll
hot?
go to it.
You gonna go out? Am I invited?
If you want to,
How's mine?
I'll see.
Mark was buying.
I may go to it.
Oh, Mark was buying. If Mark was buying. Definitely.
If Marco's buying,
Yo,
I'll
give
go
me 2
too.
bottles.
I'll go.
Mark's gonna definitely buy.
2 bottles.
So I like the fight. They're
I like
gonna,
the fight,
they're
too.
gonna try to stack the undercard, but
Good
again,
unification fight.
how many pay-per-views have we had this year?
Too many.
Too many. I mean, I'm not sure.
Getting like 1 per month.
I'm not sure Spence Porter.
Money
and then-
talks, guys.
And then
Money
2
talks.
months after, you're gonna get Ortiz Wilder.
Yeah.
2, and then who the fuck
If
knows?
they don't
There's
push it
something in
back
December. I mean, it's wild. I wouldn't say this is kind of bad news.
it's not bad.
It's okay news. Triple G is probably gonna fight Sergey Derevchenko October 4th.
I
Sergey.
feel like that.
October 4th, MSG is the likely location.
5th, I thought.
5th?
Yeah,
Okay, it's
I
5th. You put 4th. You're
my
fired
bad.
again. Like I guess
Everything's my fault today.
I'm fucking up again.
Everything's my fault today.
I'm fucking up again.
It's your fault I like my keys in my car.
It's your fault. I had to work today.
All right.
Good news, bad news, okay news.
I'll say okay news. I mean, he was supposed to fight Triple G a while ago, right?
Yeah, Triple G then
when,
dropped the belt.
Yeah, when he had the belt.
Yeah. So I mean, he's a good young fighter. So you never know with these young fighters, these young lions. But does he have a real shot? Maybe, but I don't think so.
Bad news, good news.
I think it's good news. So you get to see Golovkin against an actual opponent in MSG again. It's been a while since you've actually seen that.
I fight
So yeah, because
Mexican style.
Steve Rose.
Yeah,
Steve Rose.
No.
I think it's okay news. Funny thing about this is Triple G didn't want to fight him.
Yeah.
Instead, he fought Vanes Monterosian, which was a shit fight.
And he got heat for it too.
Oh, he should have.
Yeah.
Canelo, I mean, from what reports are, I'm not saying it's true or not. Canelo offers this guy $5.56 million. He turns it down. Instead, he wants to fight Triple G for the belt. Canelo gets stripped. Canelo doesn't have an opponent. Though he has like 9 possible opponents for November, December. Whatever.
Boston politics, man.
Trash.
Politics.
But Derevchenko is a good fighter. I don't see him being Triple G, although I spoke to his coach, Unk, my boy Andre Rozier, who also trains Danny Jacobs. He told me that he's going to be ready for Triple G, and had he trained Sergey instead of Danny Jacobs for that fight, he thinks Sergey would have beat Danny Jacobs. He says Sergey listens more than Danny Jacobs. Then Jake was making like 9-10 million a fight. So sometimes it gets to a fighter's head. Not saying it did, but you just think sometimes Canelo probably tells his trainer sometimes to fuck off. I bet. I mean, yeah, when you're at that level, I mean you have to try to stay level headed. But when you're making 8 figures on a fight, it's hard to. But it was good insight. I mean, had I cared about actually shooting video, I did get a good Tim Bradley interview that I couldn't upload because everyone had it up like that. I'm not about posting shit up quick. I did write articles on it. Tim Bradley basically said that Spence was ducking Crawford, basically just like that. And he was on camera. I mean, I wish I would have put it up, but it's already old news. It's Wednesday. It happened Saturday. Wi-Fi in Philly was trash, and Philly, Philly's time, trash, but Philly is kind of trash. So,
I'm sorry. What happened to the show on Sunday?
My boy Greg.
Yeah.
Greg had a softball tournament. He didn't get back to us on Saturday.
Yeah.
Hit him up Sunday. No response. We did see him Saturday night though, so at least he came there.
Producer was very upset.
Well, he should have came to Philly.
Yeah.
I have better things to do. They go to a trash ass town. I would have left with a murder charge.
Oh my gosh.
I got to shit on Philly because they shit on us. But yeah, Derevchenko, Triple G, whatever. I mean, it'll be on the goddamn zone. You can pay $10.
We're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it on house phone.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's not happening.
So yeah, that's our boxing update. That's our show. Actually, we ran a little overtime. We're not going to win trivia tonight, unfortunately.
The Mets yet?
I don't know. Let's see. Anyways, that's our show. Don't know if we're back Sunday because Dave might have to go to the beach.
Again?
Pete might have to go to Philly.
No, I'm gonna have to work overtime.
I'm
has to yell at David and not change his tires ever at Costco ever again.
Costco. Really? Messed it up, man.
Really?
Unbelievable. I'm canceling my membership.
Costco give you your first house.
Oh my god.
You remember that shit.
401k game.
We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight after this.
Yeah, we're definitely fighting after
Royal
this.
Rumble. I'm not in it though. 'Cause I'm friends with everyone. Peace.
Peace.
Later.